Okay, so we did these first two, type parameter and instance parameter, and then let's look at the one for the image sample. The one for the image sample is pretty similar to the one for the range, except for instead of a range, it samples an image down here. So you just get the values from the image. So you get a file path, a file from path, an image read from file, and then the image goes into the image pixels, and you do X and Y samples. We're just doing one Y sample, and then we're getting the count from the all elements of family type up here. And then, so it does 1 in the X and, 20 in the Y, right? In the Y samples, so X and Y, which seems like it's reversed a little bit, but we'll look at that. Like, one would think that this would be the X samples, right? And that would be the Y, but it seems to kind of reverse it itself, which is a little weird. But then it remaps the range to 0 and 120, and it removes any blank zeros in there. There aren't any in this one, but sometimes you'll get some divide by 0 options, and it'll give this not a number. So this little thing removes that if needed. And then this gets the louver, gets all elements of that louver, which allows us to set them individually. And then this is the count that goes back for the Y, and then the code block for the set parameters, the P1 and P2, and the values come from the removal of the NAN. So if I come down and change this image file, so if I browse and maybe get something that has a little variation in it, like this one, and run that, you'll see these guys update a little bit. Maybe something else, maybe this one, and run, right? And you'll see them update based on, whether it's open or closed, right? White or black. So that's the get values from image. Let me go ahead and freeze this one. Okay. And then down at the bottom, I have one where, let's go ahead and put this guy out, where I have a 2-point louver with 5 rotation pieces on it. So if I edit that guy, right, it's just a louver that has 5 rotations on it. So if I come in and, set P2 to 45 and apply, right, ignore that. It's just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rotations in it, right? And it has an individual loft between each one, so it'll segment and not curve. So if I close that guy, I can apply it here, right? So if I come over and pick that, there it is, this guy right here, the 2-point louver with 5, and just set that guy there, and then repeat it. It has P1 through 5 as options for the rotation, right? So let's kind of pan that over, bring this over. And what this does is it does exactly the same thing as the one above, but instead of just rotating the angles individually, it splits up the sampling and rotates each parameter separately. So you can sort of follow it through. We may get to this definition, we may not. But if I unfreeze that and run it, it rotates all of those, right, and sets it at sort of these different angles. So you get this sort of funky deal, right? So you can do that. So if I change the picture, if I browse and go to, I don't know, maybe this one, and then run that, right? It sort of, you can start to see that arrow shooting through there, right, in a certain way. So you can get these kind of patternings happening with the louvers. So that's that one. We may go through that one, we may not. So we'll see.